Everyone seems to agree that a better healthcare system is needed. But how to fix the system has led to some contentious debate among physicians, politicians, and consumers. Hello, I'm Leonard Nimoy. Some feel the medical profession has been slow to embrace technology, but more and more healthcare providers are recognizing the need for using high-tech advances to improve healthcare delivery. By using the various applications that are available, hospitals, extended care facilities, and physician practices are banking on less medical errors and improved patient care. In this segment, we'll take a look at how new regulations and technologies are affecting the healthcare industry, and more, on this edition of The Next Wave. And welcome to The Next Wave. Although the Food and Drug Administration is taking steps to reduce medication errors by making drug packages more user-friendly, some physicians believe that's simply not enough. A better delivery system is also needed to ensure patient care, and that's why many extended care facilities, hospitals, and physician practices are implementing high-tech solutions to do just that. Joining me today to discuss some of these high-tech solutions for healthcare is our expert, Dr. Earl Ferguson, a cardiologist and telemedicine consultant. Also with me are Dr. Barry Chaikin, Vice President of Clinical Marketing at McKesson HBOC, and Rich Grijalva, the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Health Axis. Gentlemen, thank you very much, all of you, for joining us here today. Earl, I read that there are state mandates and regulations that are putting pressure on the healthcare industry to use new technology to improve patient care. What are some of these issues?
Well, the real issue is that medicine is extremely complex, and we're trying to drive more automated technology, more information technologies to automate medicine and get us information and process information a lot more effectively. It's a real complex task. Our group, which now only has 5 physicians, maintains almost 10,000 paper medical records. It's very difficult to automate and bring the information to age to such a complex medical system. But we need to do that because that'll improve our decision making.
Barry, your company is working on something called closed-loop medication management. What are we talking about here, and how does it affect the patients?
Well, closed-loop medication management really is a process in which you want to streamline how you administer medications to patients. And that includes the component of the physician doing the ordering, the pharmacist transcribing the actual order for the various medications, delivering that drug up to the floor, and then administering the drug to the actual patient. This is the loop you're talking about. That's correct. And how is it not already closed? Well, it's closed in the sense we know how it works, but it isn't closed in the sense that the processes that are used to actually deliver medication, from the physician deciding what the patient should actually receive and the patient receiving it, are very, very varied. There are a lot of steps involved. As you may or may not know, there are pharmacists involved, physicians involved, nurses involved, orderlies involved. If you are able to take that process and streamline it and make it consistent so that every single patient who is receiving a medication in the hospital receives it through the same identical process, you can then reduce the errors that may occur within that process.
You're talking about less personnel in the loop?
Less personnel in the loop, meaning that you're using automation to be able to deliver the medication, but what it does is it has those personnel, for example, the pharmacist, who normally would have to go and look at a medication order and transcribe it, now can move out to the floor and work with the physicians to be able to choose the best medications and also act as a double check.
Very good. Rich, your company creates applications for various parts of the healthcare industry. How is what you do impacting on the whole healthcare issue?
Well, one of the biggest things that has impacted the industry to date is a law that was enacted in 1996 called HIPAA. It's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. and by the year 2002, it must be enforced. One component is that there was some concern when an employee leaves one company and there's a lapse in coverage as they go to another one around pre-existing conditions. What this law will do is stop that from happening again.
Right.
The accountability part of it was around data integrity, security, and confidentiality, and access to healthcare information. And the Department of Health and Human Services is going to enforce and mandate certain electronic transactions to be followed, standards. The impact is enormous. It's estimated to be $24 to $42 billion, and there's only 2 years left.
Rich, how is the Internet changing the healthcare industry?
Well, I think Scott McNeely probably said it best, the CEO of Sun Microsystems. He said, if you believe that a startup is a .com, you're wrong. And what he says is that GE is a .com and that Ford and General Motors is a .com.
Not exactly startups.
Not exactly startups. What he's talking about is that the use of the Internet is a better way of taking business processes and be able to use the Internet to talk to customers and to suppliers, your own employees. And I believe that the healthcare industry is undergoing that. As an example, there was a recent survey by CyberCitizen, and of the 90% of Americans who have access to the Internet, 78% of them want to manage their own benefits online. By that, they want to be able to go into the Internet and find out what they're actually eligible for, be able to pick their doctor, get a status on the claim form. 38% of those people said if they did not have that choice, they would switch carriers. So there's a large portion of the Americans who really want to be able to manage their benefits. And the Internet is paving the way for it.
How will this impact the role the physician plays?
Well, I think the physician role is going to evolve to one where they become a decision maker as opposed to somebody who needs to remember facts and figures, which oftentimes they've had to do in the past. You see it today in medical students and in young physicians where they're using Palm Pilots and other types of devices to store medical data, the reference books, things like that, where on the knowledge bases that they can use so that they then apply those sources of information, take it and apply it to the patient to be able to develop the best treatment plan for them.
So Earl, in your day-to-day work as a practicing physician, how does this affect you? How do you feel about
Well, I think that the physician's role in the future will be pretty much the same, but the physician's going to have a lot more information right at his fingertips or in a Palm Pilot or wherever to deal with. And so it'll be much easier to get a patient's records, to know what medications the patient is on, what the allergies of the patient are. You can hopefully we'll be able to cross-check a medication we want to prescribe with other medications the patient is on for any contraindications.
To make sure there's no conflict.
And look at allergies and do all these other things that I think will make the physician's role much, much easier.
If we're using the Internet to transmit healthcare information, doesn't that raise privacy and security issues, Rich?
Enormous. That's among the recent conference called HIMSS, which is the Health Information Management Systems and Society, where there was over 20,000 attendees. 2/3 of them said that security is number one, and 53% of them already have accessed and obtained new systems around security.
Yeah, we are aware that there are security issues and security remedies coming down the line. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. I'd like to thank Rich Grijalba of Health Access, Barry Shakin of McKesson HBOC, and Dr. Earl Ferguson of Telemedicine for speaking with us today. Hopefully, these solutions will go a long way to improving patient safety and care. For more information on the Next Wave, visit www.nextwavetv.com.
A portion of this series is sponsored in part by Lucent Technologies. We make the Internet mobile. www.lucent.com. A portion of this series is sponsored by eBusiness Advisor Magazine and Conference, the guide to success in the new world of e-business. www.advisor.com.